How can we become more productive, more successful, and generally healthier and happier? There is a common school of thought that tells us in order to achieve such goals, we need willpower and discipline. That those of us who succeed are those who try harder and work harder. But research is increasingly casting doubt on this idea. It turns out that willpower is actually not a great way to change our behavior and reach our goals. But if not willpower, what else? The answer is environment optimization. We can change our environment to make it easier for ourselves to change our behavior and reach our goals. And to make this as practical as possible, in this video, let me show you 5 examples of how I have implemented environment optimization in my own apartment. Let's start here in the office with examples for making a productive work environment. I create a lot of video content, and this contraption behind me here, this is my desk studio setup. I created this to make it as easy as possible for me to go from zero to recording a video in as little time as possible. So right on my desk, I have a camera attached, I've got a microphone, and I've got a light. So all I basically do is turn on the camera, turn on the light, and I'm ready to go. And this is what it looks like. So after about 10 seconds, I have this, and I can record this straight to my computer. And if I take another like 20 to 30 seconds, I can even make it look a little nicer. All I need to do is draw the curtains, turn off the main light, and add these little highlights. And that gives us this an even more professional looking shot. Now, if you compare that to having to set up a tripod, having to set up a camera, drag around lights, maybe drag around furniture every time to set up a shot before recording, this is a huge time saving. And in addition, this also gives me a lot more flexibility because I can have zoom lenses here, I can change the height, I can change a lot about this shot, I can make a shot accommodate myself or multiple people. So this gives me not only much better quality than a webcam, but also much more flexibility than a webcam. Using a webcam for the same thing looks and sounds like this, so obviously that's not a great solution. This setup also allows me to switch straight into presentation mode because I can share my screen while I'm recording myself. And here I can go through my slides, and again, I can stream the entire thing or I can record the entire thing in one go. This is a setup that I have had for about a year, and I've already used it for more than 100 videos. I've had I think 70 or 80 video lessons in my courses, plus dozens of live calls, plus all kinds of other stuff. And not only is that a huge time saving, it's probably saved me hours upon hours of my time already, but also having a setup that's this easy and convenient means that I will more often record a video. And when I record an off-the-cuff video, the quality of that is much, much higher. So I'll have a lot of people seeing the sheer number of videos and lessons that I put out and wondering about my productivity. But really, half the secret is this setup. It's the environment that makes that productivity that much easier. By the way, credit to Caleb from DSLR Video Shooter. He has tutorials on how to build this kind of desk studio as well as other kind of all-in-one compact mobile studios. We'll link to that in the description. And while we're here, let's talk about staying healthy while we stay productive. This here is a sit-stand desk, and so is every other desk in the office. That means that these desks can all be switched from a standing position to work to a seating position to work, and using these chairs here, also anything in between. So I can sit at any level, I can kind of half stand and lean against this, and that allows me to have a dynamic working position. It allows me to sit down while working, it allows me to stand up while working, or whatever I want. I've used loads of different work setups over the years, and what I found works best is a setup that lets you easily and quickly switch from a seated to a standing position. Because if you have a fixed standing desk, maybe that's better than sitting all day, but standing statically all day isn't very healthy either, and you'll get really tired of it. But also any setup where it takes too much time or too much effort to switch from standing to sitting, you'll probably end up only sitting. So in my opinion, it is absolutely worth it to spend a bit extra on something like a motorized desk, because then you'll actually use it. In this workspace, in between the desks, I also have a compact, like semi-permanent podcast setup. And this is a setup I can pull out and also get ready to record in usually less than a minute. If you've ever watched one of our podcast episodes on YouTube, you know what the set looks like. And you know what, while I'm here, maybe we can bring in the nicer sounding microphone. Because that's one of the reasons we have this. You want to have good audio, especially on a podcast when people can only hear your voice. You want to make sure that that sounds nice. And just like with my desk studio, one of the factors here is we want to make it as easy and seamless as possible to start recording a podcast and make sure that that podcast is high quality. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. And there's another reason why I choose to have my desk studio and a podcast recording area in the same relatively cramped space, and that is soundproofing. In this room here, we have panels on almost all the walls, and I have double curtains that are also there to help stop sound bouncing all over the place and causing unpleasant echoes. Keeping both of my main recording setups in the same room means that I can have one well sound treated room and almost all of my content sounds good. Test. Let's move to an example that's not related to work. In my living room, I have about half the space dedicated to a little home gym area. And this is another example of environment optimization. Obviously, I'm going to be healthier and happier if I move and exercise regularly. And this whole space is made to make that as easy as possible. And a few details about this. First, like I said, I dedicate quite a lot of space to this because I think that really reflects priorities. You know, if I tell myself, yes, I want to work out and I want to stay fit, but all I have is like a rusty old bench press somewhere crammed in a corner, then there's a mismatch between what I'm saying and what I'm actually prioritizing. But another thing is that, for example, I prefer to have these kettlebells instead of having barbells and a rack and so on. And the main reason is that with barbells, you have to set up the rack and you have to, drag plates on and off and so on. And it just adds extra friction. Whereas with kettlebells, you can just walk over, pick one up, and you're off to the races. I have added all kinds of basically exercise toys into this space. I want to make this space inviting. So there's all kinds of different things here that I can essentially play with. Because my goal here isn't to grimly pursue the most optimal workout plan possible. My goal is to move, to exercise a lot, and variety is something that makes that a lot more fun. So this is a space that is inviting and it takes up a lot of space. It's always there, it's always visible. And that leads me to spend much more time exercising and moving here than I would under different circumstances. For the final example, in the other half of my living room, I don't have a TV. I don't have a TV anywhere in my apartment, and that is by choice. What I do have is a projector with which I can create a pretty cool home cinema experience. However, it takes quite a bit of effort to set this up. This, however, is something that I see as a feature, not a bug. You see, if I had a TV in my living room, it would be much too convenient to just plop down on the couch anytime and start watching TV or start watching Netflix. And if I had that, I know I would do it too much. I would end up wasting too much of my time in front of the TV, and it would lower my life satisfaction. With a home cinema setup like this, I'm not going to drag around my furniture and get out the projector every day. I'm only going to do that occasionally when there's something that's really worth watching. And another advantage is that this is a real occasion and a good reason to invite friends over.
Somebody say movie night?
So instead of vegging out on the couch watching too much TV or too much Netflix, once a week or so I have a really worthwhile experience watching an awesome movie. Environment optimization is, in my opinion, the most underrated thing in personal development. And because it's so important, we will cover this in more upcoming videos. But what I hope this first video showed you is just a very practical example of what we mean when we talk about environment optimization. And hopefully this will inspire you to look at your own environment in a different way and think a bit differently about what it means to change your behavior and become more successful. Now, with that said, since we've gone through all this effort, we've got a movie to watch. Hey, want to get in on the action? We host challenges on a regular basis with other members of our community that include everything from gratitude to productivity to writing exercises and much, much more. To learn more, head over to icario.com and go to the product section to see what you can enroll in. See you on the inside.